Unveiling the Shadows. Introduction to the Epstein scandal. Jeffrey Epstein's name has become synonymous with one of the most disconcerting criminal cases in modern history. His actions expose a chilling narrative of power, abuse, and a judicial system grappling with accountability. Florida prosecutors knew of Epstein's crimes involving teenage girls years before a controversial deal was struck. These details reveal systemic failures that allowed him to operate with impunity. This case critiques societal and systemic flaws, showing how wealth manipulates justice. The global impact of Epstein's crimes and the judicial fallout. Epstein's crimes have had a profound impact on global trust in institutions. The world reacted with horror as his network was revealed. High-profile figures were implicated, sparking international calls for justice. The revelations led to calls for legal reforms and better victim treatment. The initial discovery, uncovering Epstein's dark secrets. Damning transcripts revealed Florida prosecutors knew of Epstein's crimes against teenage girls. These documents painted a grim picture of Epstein's predations and the legal system's foreknowledge. Serious questions arose about the motives and integrity of those in power. Detailed accounts from victims outlined the criminal nature of Epstein's actions. The evidence pointed to a pattern of behavior that should have triggered immediate legal action. Yet, the response was tepid, leading to an inadequate plea deal. Prosecutors allowed Epstein to evade the full weight of the law. This lenient approach has been widely scrutinized and criticized. The transcripts are a testament to a failure within the justice system. The public and media exposed the scale of Epstein's wrongdoing and legal complicity. The role of Florida prosecutors, complicity and controversy. The role of the Florida prosecutors in the Epstein case is a focal point of controversy and outrage. The decision to enter into a plea deal with Epstein, despite the overwhelming evidence against him, is a glaring example of the justice system failing the very individuals it is supposed to protect. This section examines the motivations and circumstances that led to such a decision, including the potential influence of Epstein's powerful connections and the possible inadequacies within the prosecution team. Investigations into the plea deal have suggested that there was a significant underestimation of the gravity of Epstein's crimes by the prosecutors, possibly influenced by his high-profile status and legal team. This misjudgment, whether due to incompetence or corruption, resulted in a deal that saw Epstein serve a much-reduced sentence, with unprecedented work release privileges, thus undermining the severity of his offences and the suffering of his victims. Furthermore, the lack of transparency and the secretive nature of the deal negotiations have fueled public distrust in the legal system. It raises critical questions about accountability and the extent to which wealth and power can skew the course of justice. This section delves into the specifics of the deal, the legal justifications provided by the prosecutors, and the subsequent backlash from the legal community and the general public. As the story continued to unfold, the implications of this plea deal became a national scandal, highlighting not only the failures of the Florida prosecutors, but also the broader implications for legal ethics and justice in America. The controversy surrounding this case has prompted calls for reforms and a re-evaluation of how the legal system handles cases involving powerful individuals. This section sets the stage for examining the wider fallout and the public and media reaction that followed. Section 3. Public reaction and media frenzy. The fallout begins. The public and media reaction to the revelations about the Florida prosecutors' foreknowledge of Epstein's crimes was swift and severe. Outrage spread quickly, fueled by a sense of betrayal and a demand for accountability. Social media platforms and news outlets became arenas for vigorous debate and calls for justice, reflecting the deep emotional impact of the case on the public. This section explores the dynamics of the public response and the role of the media in shaping the narrative. The media played a critical role in uncovering and broadcasting the details of the transcripts and the plea deal, often acting as the public's proxy in demanding answers and accountability. Investigative reports, opinion pieces, and extensive coverage brought the issue to the forefront of national consciousness, ensuring that it remained a topic of intense scrutiny and discussion. This relentless media pressure was instrumental in keeping the story alive and in highlighting the systemic issues at play. In addition to traditional media, social media platforms enabled a more grassroots level of engagement. Hashtags related to Epstein and calls for justice trended, allowing people from all walks of life to express their opinions and to mobilize. This digital activism played a pivotal role in ensuring the case received continuous attention and contributed to the mounting pressure on officials to re-examine the decisions made in Epstein's case. Finally, the public reaction and media frenzy also influenced political responses. Legislators and public officials were compelled to address the issue, leading to investigations and hearings aimed at uncovering the truth and ensuring such failures in the justice system do not recur. This section highlights the powerful impact of public sentiment and media engagement in driving forward the quest for justice and reform in the wake of Epstein's crimes. Section 1. Victim-shaming tactics revealed. The transcripts from the grand jury proceedings in the Jeffrey Epstein case expose a distressing pattern of victim shaming, a stark revelation that has provoked widespread condemnation. These documents depict a judicial environment where young victims were not only disbelieved, but were subjected to intense scrutiny and skepticism. This section delves into the specific tactics used during the grand jury process that contributed to the undermining of the victim's credibility and the subsequent miscarriage of justice. In the grand jury transcripts, questions posed to the victims often focused excessively on their past behaviors, clothing choices, and personal lives, rather than the crimes committed against them. This line of questioning perpetuates harmful stereotypes and stigmatizes the victims, effectively shifting the blame from the perpetrator to those who suffered the abuse. Such tactics are indicative of a broader systemic issue where victim blaming is utilized to deflect responsibility from the accused, especially when the accused holds significant social or financial power. The impact of these tactics on the victims was profound. Many felt re-victimized by the legal process, which was supposed to protect and deliver justice for them. The transcripts reveal moments where the credibility of the victims was questioned so intensely that it bordered on character assassination. This not only affected the outcomes of the Epstein case, but also sent a chilling message to other victims of SA about the potential repercussions of coming forward. Analyzing these tactics provides insight into why many SA cases, particularly those involving powerful individuals, go unreported or result in unsatisfactory legal outcomes. The subsequent sections will explore the broader societal and legal implications of such victim-shaming practices, highlighting the need for systemic reform to prevent future injustices. Section 2. Societal impacts of victim blaming. The societal impacts of victim blaming, as showcased in the Epstein grand jury transcripts, extend far beyond the courtroom. They permeate various aspects of social consciousness, influencing public opinion and shaping the discourse around sexual abuse and misconduct. This section examines how victim blaming, entrenched in high-profile legal cases like Epstein's, perpetuates a culture of silence and complicity surrounding SA violence. Victim shaming not only affects the immediate judicial outcomes, but also discourages other potential victims from coming forward. Fear of not being believed or being publicly scrutinized for their most personal and painful experiences can deter victims from seeking justice. This creates a societal norm where the burden of proof disproportionately falls on the victims, often leading to underreporting of SA crimes and a pervasive lack of accountability for perpetrators. Media portrayal of victim shaming during trials can also influence public perceptions, reinforcing harmful myths about sexual violence. When victims are blamed in high-profile cases, it sends a message that the victim's actions, rather than the perpetrators, are up for debate. This not only trivializes the crime, but also emboldens potential offenders by perpetuating a belief that they can evade accountability. The repercussions of such a societal stance are vast, impacting educational, workplace, and interpersonal settings by maintaining an environment that is hostile to open discussions about victimization by SA. This section underscores the urgent need for a shift in both legal approaches and societal attitudes towards victims of SA violence, advocating for a more empathetic and supportive system. Legal and ethical implications for the justice system. The Epstein case highlights significant legal and ethical issues necessitating reforms. We need a judicial shift prioritizing victim support and prosecutorial integrity. Stricter guidelines for victim treatment during testimonies are essential. Ethical training for legal professionals is crucial for handling sensitive cases. Addressing these issues is vital for restoring public trust in the justice system. Section 1. The Veil of Secrecy. Why the list remains hidden. The secrecy around Epstein's list raises questions about justice and transparency. Section 2. The Power Network Influence and Immunity. Epstein's connections shielded him, raising concerns about power and justice. Section 3. Unveiling the implications, accountability, and future steps. The Epstein case calls for systemic reforms to ensure justice and transparency. Section 1. Congressional Hearing Overview. Director Chris Wray's testimony. Director Wray faced tough questions on the FBI's handling of the Epstein case. Section 2. Scrutiny of the FBI's handling of the Epstein case. The hearing scrutinized the FBI's actions and called for systemic changes. The congressional hearing with FBI Director Chris Wray not only shed light on the Epstein case, but also set the stage for how future investigations of similar nature might be handled. The Epstein case prompts a re-evaluation of investigative and oversight mechanisms. The revelations about Florida prosecutors' prior knowledge of Jeffrey Epstein's crimes and their subsequent actions, or lack thereof, cast a long shadow over our understanding of justice and transparency within the judicial system. The Epstein case highlights flaws in the justice system and the need for transparency. The Epstein scandal also highlights the critical role of public engagement and media oversight in upholding justice. Public and media vigilance were crucial in uncovering Epstein's crimes. Looking ahead, the Epstein case sets a precedent for how similar cases might be handled in the future, emphasizing the need for systemic changes across judicial and investigative bodies. The Epstein case calls for legal reforms and international cooperation.